the idea of Marxism is that history would go through this series of dialectical stages, from slavery to feudalism to capitalism to socialism to communism. And so socialism would be this final transitionary step to full-blown communism. Marion Smith of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation, he likes to say that the difference between socialism and communism is just as Christians aspire to heaven, socialists aspire to communism. And I like that phrase because it really is like a religion. As Pope Benedict XVI said, communists aspire to this new Jerusalem without God, this strictly material world. And I quote throughout the book a number of examples of different communists who describe communism as like a religion. And Ronald Reagan said, communism, that religion of theirs. So it really is that. I mean, communism is their earthly utopia, their secular utopia. So they would abolish private property. They would abolish, I mean, so many things. Probably the only word that Marx might use more than the word abolish or abolition is the word criticism. In fact, in his Opiate of the Masses essay, he says that the criticism of religion is the beginning of all criticism. And he uses the word criticism or criticize 29 times in the Opiate of the Masses essay, where he refers to religion as the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, the soul of soulless conditions, the opiate of the people. And he's constantly saying, Marx did in a letter to Arnold Rouge, his friend in 1843, called for the ruthless criticism of everything that exists. The ruthless criticism of everything that exists. If you look on pages 383 to 384 of my book, I give a bunch of different bullet points where I list a number of different things where Marx is just attacking, criticizing. Or we just a couple of examples. This is the Communist Manifesto. This is the Communist Manifesto. Marx and Engels said, communism seeks to abolish the present state of things. All right. I mean, no small deal there, right? We just want to abolish the present state of things, right? I mean, imagine one of my students turned in a term paper, right? Professor Ken Gore, I am proposing in here to abolish the present state of things, right? Okay, F, right? Communism represents the most radical rupture in traditional relations. Yes. The close of the manifesto. Everybody remembers the line, workers of the world unite, throw off your chains, we have a world to win. This too is in the closing paragraph. The communists openly declare that their ends can be attained only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. Their ends can only be attained, said Marx and Engels, by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. They don't even say something like, our ends can be attained only by making some crucial changes in some really important social conditions. No, the forcible overthrow of all existing. So, I mean, you talk about a couple of madmen who wanted to burn down the house. I mean, nothing was to be left standing. Communists everywhere support, close of the manifesto, every revolutionary movement against the existing social and political order of things. And one more. Marx had a favorite quote from Goethe's spouse, the Mephistopheles character, who was the devil or demon character. And that quote was, everything that exists deserves to perish. So Chris, if someone was to ask you, me, Bob, if someone was to say, hey, give us a favorite quote, right? Say, oh, okay, well, this proverb, right? Or maybe this verse from the New Testament, or this quote from St. Francis, or, I got it, be not afraid, right? Marx said, oh, that's easy, right? Everything that exists deserves to perish. So, wow, scripture, Marx, where did you get that? No. Mephistopheles, Goethe's spouse, demon, devil character. And people said they could hear Marx not just reciting that, but chanting that. And so that, I would tell people, is Marxism. And yet, if you ask people today, young people who say that they support communism, why do you support communism? Well, because communism calls for helping your fellow man
Mm-hmm.
and for sharing, right? And which shows you one good thing. They don't understand Marxism. They have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. So if there's a ray of hope in this, it's that if we can simply teach them what Marx believes and what the manifesto actually says, I don't think many of them are going to be communists because this is an idea that should not be attractive to anybody. And the only allure that I could possibly think of, or maybe not even allure is the right word, the only explanation I could maybe think of as to why this ever picked up any currency at all, I think it's a spiritual explanation. I think you got to look to darker forces, diabolical forces, to understand this attraction. And it's been a seductive, fatal attraction because everywhere that it's been tried, it's led to death and destruction. And that's not a surprise when you actually read Marx and read about Marxism and the Communist Manifesto. It's not just Lenin, it's not just Stalin, it's not just Mao, it's not just Pol Pot, it's not just Castro, it's Marx. This is a horrible ideology, and our church has understood that in encyclicals going back to at least Qui Pluribus in 1846.